on with the leverage when it's all said and done. All right, Damien, let me ask you this. We know it's the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Yep.
Molly, I'm sorry to interrupt. I got some information that all of y'all need to know before we move forward. Deshaun Watson,
go ahead.
According to what I'm being told, did not leak this information. The organization, Max, Damien, Molly, leaked the information. They were reached out to ask to confirm it, but they want to make sure everyone knows they did not leak this information. I got that information literally during the commercial break. Just wanted you to know.
Yep.
Got it. That Deshaun was not the one to put this out there. That it was actually
that starts to
the organization. Yeah, a lot of people would have assumed otherwise.
Yes, it was not. It was not them. They were asked to
Damien.
confirm it was leaked by the organization.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Damien, let me ask you this, and then you can go wherever you want with it. We obviously know it's the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Almost nearly every team would want to get their hands on him. But who do you think should put their name out there first? Who should really go after Deshaun more so than any other team?
Well, I heard Stephen A. talking about it in the first hour. I think if you're the New York Jets, man, you got to go. You got to push your chips in right now. Because when you're talking about a franchise that's been just struggling mightily to find a solution at the quarterback position, we saw them give up multiple picks to move up to get Sam Darnold. It hasn't worked. This team hasn't been to the playoffs since I was with the New York Jets. That was a decade ago. And the one thing that we know about the New York Jets, they probably have more assets than any other team in the National Football League over the next couple years. I know the Jaguars have assets, the Miami Dolphins, but the Jets are in prime position to push their chips in and solve the one position that they haven't been able to solve. And when you're able to get a franchise quarterback that's a superstar at 25, everything around that will fall into place. Because guess what? You get Deshaun Watson in New York City, you don't think other people will want to come and play with Deshaun Watson or Allen Robinson, who's a free agent wide receiver. You know, all these guys that's going to be on the market. These guys will flock to New York to go play for a Deshaun Watson if he's the quarterback of the New York Jets. So, listen, GM Joe Douglas, man, push them chips in and go get that superstar quarterback.
I like the idea of the Jets because the Jets have been so dysfunctional in recent years. They need a quarterback who's going to be great independent of the organization. You know, there are very few guys like that. Most guys, like, look at Baker Mayfield. Not in a good situation, he's not that good. A better situation, that's most quarterbacks. In a better situation, they can be good, and they fall in that range somewhere. Very few, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, would be great no matter where they were. And then it's just a degree of greatness that you're looking at based on a better or worse organization. And Deshaun Watson's one of those guys. And that's who the Jets need so they don't screw it up. So the Jets are a great pick. I've mentioned Chicago in the past. Redo that draft. This time you don't need to take Trubisky. You can figure out a way to get Deshaun Watson. And from Deshaun's point of view, win a Super Bowl in Chicago first since '85, forget about it, right? But everyone's right. The Jets and the Miami Dolphins this year have the most draft capital. And Stephen A., you'll get into the specifics of the Dolphins, I'm sure. The reason I say it's easier to talk about teams that shouldn't trade for Deshaun Watson, because there are so few of them, right, is because there are probably over 20 teams that really should try to trade for him, is Stephen A., because Adam Schefter was on this program a little while ago, earlier today, and said, in fact, Deshaun, who does have a no-trade clause, is open to a lot of different destinations. Well, that's interesting, and that actually helps the Texans. They can get a haul from him, and then Caserio, the new GM, can really go to work rebuilding the franchise, which right now needs that desperately, because I don't think anyone wants to play there at the moment.
I don't know exactly what picks the Washington football team has available to them, but an African-American is the team president, along with an African-American as the general manager. In light of what apparently is transpiring in Houston, that might be attractive to Deshaun Watson. The Miami Dolphins cannot be ignored. They've got the number 3 pick. They've got the number 18 overall pick. They've got Tua Tagovailoa, and a lot would depend on how the Houston Texans feel about him, because from a picks perspective, the Dolphins definitely have assets that should appeal to the Houston Texans, particularly if they like Tua Tagovailoa. So that's something that's taken into consideration, because if I'm the New York Jets, I go all in. I offer the number 2 overall pick. I offer the number 23 overall pick. I offer the number 34 overall pick. And I offer Sam Darnold. Yes, I will. And if they wanted next year's first-round pick, I'd give them that too, just to get my hands on Deshaun Watson. It's plain and simple. If you're the Chicago Bears, you should contact somebody to see if they could change the weather in the Chi-Town, for crying out loud. You offer that damn stuff to anything to get Deshaun Watson a second crack at him, since you passed up on him and Mahomes to draft Mitchell Trubisky and moved up to get him. You talk about a team that desperately needs to make amends, it would be Chicago. But again, when we talk about actual assets, things that are plausible, New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins stand out. I wouldn't put Jacksonville in there because I don't think there's any way in hell they're giving up the number 1 overall pick that's going to be Trevor Lawrence, with everything that's been said about Trevor Lawrence. So it's really about the Jets and Miami in terms of assets. I think a lot would depend on how Miami feels about, how Houston feels about Tua Tagovailoa. But if I'm the Jets, throw Sam Darnold in there, 3 first-round picks, 2 this year, 1 next year, and the second-round pick to get my hands on Deshaun Watson in New York. Without question, I would do that if I'm the New York Jets.
All right.
Damien?
We'll leave it.
Yeah, I mean,
there, guys.
I would just,
like
if we're not going to leave it there, I would
okay,
quickly
go ahead.
say,
Sorry,
if
it
we're
was
not
a
going to
long
leave it
extended
there,
pause. Wasn't sure what was happening.
That when you analyze who wouldn't want Deshaun, like Josh Allen, they like a lot in Buffalo. Deshaun's better, but I get they want to stay with their guy who's also young, still on his rookie deal. Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. I get why those teams wouldn't want to make a move. Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, that's 4. Mahomes is 5. Guys, who else? Maybe there are 5 or 6 or 7 teams who would say, we want our guy. But even if you're Green Bay, you're looking at a 37-year-old. Obviously, the Saints would want him. Like, who wouldn't want Deshaun Watson?
Want to also add in another nugget. Want to also add in another nugget by the New York Jets real quick. My man Brandon Tierney, that used to work here, now CBS, does a great job. I heard him talking the other day, just because he's one of the biggest Jets fans that I know, and he talked about how the Jets have about $70 million in cap space as well. So when you take into account the assets that they have in terms of picks, and then the $70 million that they have to go out there and attract top-tier players, if you take into account what you said, Damien, in terms of who Deshaun Watson is, how electric he is, how you'd have players wanting to gravitate towards playing with him. You combine that with the fact that it's the New York market and the Jets would have cap space in order to go out there, or the $70 million in cap space that you could go out there and get some quality athletes. When you add all of that together, the Jets are clearly the team with the most assets to get him. The question is, are they going to be shy about pulling the trigger?